Okay, today, folks, we're going to use tinkercad to create some circuits. So first thing we're going to do is type in tinkercad.com, and it should take us right there. All right, so if you haven't already done so, log in with your smarteagles.org Google account, and you should come to a screen that looks like this. This is our demo account for 7th grade, but this can, I know this is for an 8th grade class. You need to join the class. If you haven't already done so, you need to do that. So join the class, you click that button there. You can type in the code. The code is found in Google Classroom for your class. Don't use this code right here because this might not be for your class. Or you can come into Google Classroom and click on this link and it will join your class just like that. And you say, welcome to whatever period you are. And you say, that's me. And you're in. All right. So we're going to create a new circuit. So we're going to go to circuits. Guys, make sure you're taking a look at where I am. Here we are in circuits. Let's see if my zoom is right. I want to zoom in a little bit, make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay. And then we're going to create a new circuit. So we're going to click on create new circuit. Now, Tinkercad gives these circuits, these things that you make in Tinkercad, some funny names. So click up here and let's change this to basic circuit. Now, hopefully you guys were paying attention in some of the other assignments that we've done about circuits for this week. And you've noticed that all the circuits that we saw create basically a loop, a way for electricity to flow all the way around in a circle. And they call that a circuit. So what we're going to do today is add in a battery. Okay, we'll just use this battery right here. Now you can rotate the battery if you need to, just by hitting the R button on your keyboard. That's up to you how you want to organize that. I'm going to put it like that for me. We also are going to use a breadboard. Okay. A breadboard was just that eventually. It was originally, there's the word I'm looking for. It was a person's breadboard, and they put screws in it, and it created a metal screw where they could connect wires to and help prototype their circuits. Today, we are going to use a plastic breadboard, but underneath the plastic breadboard is metal that connects different holes where you can plug wires into. So you can see here when I highlight onto a hole, there is a green circle and green lines going in between all the holes that are connected to it. In other words, electricity can flow from the hole that I'm over to any one of these holes. And then these are all connected together. So all of these down here, these are called rails. They're connected together, and then all these are connected together, but they're not connected to each other. Same thing's happening on this side of the breadboard. So we have what is labeled as a negative all the way down and a positive all the way down. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's how it's labeled. So if you want to not confuse anyone, you should really connect your positive wires and your negative wires to those certain row of holes. Now, they go left and right as my breadboard is positioned right now. These in the middle go up and down. So if I was to plug a wire in here, it would be connected to electricity could flow into any wire that I plugged into any of these holes. Okay, and same with all these down here. So only the 5 in that row on this side of the board are electrically connected with metal behind this white plastic. And okay, and then on this side, the same thing. All right, so let's create a circuit. So what I want to do is light an LED today. I'm just going to keep it simple. Not going to worry about resistors. So I'm going to use a 1.5 volt, which really won't make the LED very bright, but it'll work. So we're going to snap this LED right in here. Now, this one is where the red comes to. The anode is where the red wire has to get electricity to. And this cathode is where the black wire has got to go back into the battery. Okay, so how we're going to do this? Well, we could easily just take this down here. Now, one thing you might want to do and attach it to here, because anything I attach here is going to be attached to all these, including where the LED is plugged. Now, one thing you want to do is probably change the colors of your wire. So you can come up here and change it to red, or you can press uh, the numbers on the keyboard. So 1 is black, 2 is red, orange, 4, 3 is yellow, 5 is green, and you can play with that and go all the way down. So I want this one to be red because it's coming from my red side of my battery. I want this one to be black. I'm going to move this so it's nice and parallel. So I'm going to push 1 to do that. All right. So at this point, electricity should flow out of the battery. This is a battery case, so it's actually taking this negative from this side through the case to this terminal. All right, so electricity is going to flow out here, going to go into my LED, coming out of my LED, and go back into my battery. So we've got a nice circle or circuit that electrons can flow and create a current. All right, let's see what happens. All right, you can barely tell it, but it did light up a little bit. I'm gonna stop the simulation and go ahead and watch right here. As I stop, you see it goes dim or goes off, and then it goes on. That's our basic circuit right there. We are done for this one. All right, let's go back to the beginning. So we click on tinkercad. We're gonna create a couple circuits today. So create a new circuit and call this one up here at the top left, basic circuit with, I'm just going to do that for with button. Okay. So these will be saved because you joined my class. I'll be able to see them. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So we actually could have probably copied what we had already done. Remember, I used R to rotate this around. There we go. Put it right there. Then I'm going to put in a breadboard. Okay. And this breadboard's small. Sometimes it takes a little bit for it to pop in. And I'm going to put that right there, just like we did before. And an LED. But what I'm going to add this time is a switch. So that's our button. We'll call it a button switch. A momentary button switch. In other words, it's only engaged when I'm pressing it at that moment. So again, rotate this around, because the way that these buttons work is the terminals on the same side of this square are connected when you press the button. So electricity can come in here. When I press the button, electricity will come out here. It will not jump over to this side. Okay? So electricity will flow from this side, press the button to this side, but it will not go over to this side. So we're going to put this right in. Actually, I'm going to have to rotate this around. Okay, I'll put that right here. Now again, I'm going to take my positive wire up to my switch here so electricity can flow to it. And then I'm going to follow the electricity through the breadboard because of the green lines into the switch. When I press the switch, electricity is going to jump over to this side, and I want to take the electricity from there and put it over to where my LED is. And again, I'm going to change these to red by pushing on the 2, or you can come up here and change it to red as well. And then now electricity can get through the breadboard to the anode of the LED. Out of the LED, we want to get back to the battery. So we're going to come down here, change that to black, put it into here, tidy it up so it's nice and parallel looking and neat looking. And there we are, is our basic circuit with a button. Okay, let's try it out. Start the simulation. And so electricity right now, you can see this didn't change because the electricity can't get through. It's stopped by the circuit is open right here. It's not closed. So when we click on this, we close it, and you can see that turns on. So there we go. That makes a basic circuit with a button. Okay. You see you can turn on the light. It's only momentarily pressed. When I press the button, that's when the light comes on. When I stop pressing, it doesn't work anymore. All right, stop the simulation. Now, what I would like us to do is kind of play with this, let's see if we can't go back to basic and duplicate this and then play with. So going back here, we've created these two. Let's duplicate this one with the button. And you see it's called copy of, but we're going to call this basic circuit with button. Let's call it multiple LEDs. So let's just say 2 LEDs. Let's just say that. Button, and 2 LEDs. And you guys can play with this if you want and add 3, 4, or so on. So the first thing I want to do is going to move this wire down here a little ways, move this wire down here as well. And why I did that is so that I can use these holes right here for another LED. So I'm going to grab the LED and throw that LED right in there so I can see both of them. Now watch what happens. You remember what it looked like before. So let's start the simulation and let's look at it. And you got 2 LEDs lighting up. Okay, this is these are parallel to each other. So this is called a parallel circuit. So the electricity is flowing through here, up at this wire that's underneath the breadboard, and down this wire that's underneath the breadboard, and these are getting the same amount of electricity depending on their resistance, and they're the same, so they get the same. Now, if we put it in series, one after another, it would look something like this. Let's see, we're going to stop the simulation, move this over here, so one after another. Okay, so now electricity is going to come into the button, come out of the button, down into this wire, up into this LED, out of this LED, back into here, and now we want to move this over to this way so that the electricity can go through this LED, back to this wire, and back to the battery. Now do your simulation and you're going to see the LEDs barely light up. So what we can do here is, because they're in a series, so the electricity that comes through here is being slowed down by the light, because the light takes energy away from the current of the electrons flowing through, and so does this one. So they're doing it together, slowing it so much that actually electricity just doesn't flow. So we need more power. We need to increase our flow. So we'll just do 2 batteries and see what happens. There we go. So if you only have 1 battery, it's going to burn out the battery quicker, but you can put them in parallel and get the light then to light up. If you put them in series, then you're going to need more power to push it through both LEDs, one after another, get through both of them. So that's what we did right there, and now we got that lit. And you can play around and put 3 batteries in there. You see it nice and bright, but it's getting close to actually being too much current going through them and causing it to blow out. You can see the little icon that Tinkercad puts in there. So play around with that. If you want to, continue to go and add more LEDs, you can do that if you would like. You can try different things in different series. I'd love to see what you do and see what your end result is. And then simulation. And there you go. See, now it's dim again because they're going in series. Now, if we go back to parallel, stop the simulation, even with 3, see like that, do this, I think this is going to be bad. Let's see what happens. Start the simulation, push the button. Yep, blew them out. See, that's too much current. Got to change my batteries back to 1. Then I get that. Even at 2 batteries, I think that's going to blow it. Oh, it's close. It's close. Okay? And so if you got rid of the button, okay, so that's good. Play with that, and those are the 3 circuits for this week.